Now we're going to move on to the more pictorial parts of Look and Think. And again, this is going to be broken down into several sections. So the first thing that you're going to look at is this bit here, matching 2D. And here we have the booklet here, and this has been scanned that you can print off. So you'll notice it's just done in thin strips and just a little spiral binding at the side. So very much like parts of the Baraga, and you're going to see the rest of the pages, and there's even more similarity. You ask the child to look at the first picture here and look along the whole line and point to the one that is the same. Now here is the recording section here. Unfortunately, they didn't put in any details, so you have to just quickly write a little description of what each one is. So I normally just write house and so on. So that's the first one, and I'm going to quickly flip through the pages. So next one, we've got little people in various positions. So looking along to see matching the same as the very first one here. More little people. Notice that there's, you need to look carefully at the arm and the leg position. So quite tricky, or a bit slightly more tricky. Then we move on to some animals, farm animals. So in here, I'm now looking at patterns, and I need to get the same arrangement with the black dot. That looks a little familiar there. This part as well may look quite familiar. Again, looking at the arrangement of the shapes and looking for that one line in the square. And finally this one. Now this should be very familiar to you because this was the really almost identical same question that appeared in the Baraga assessment as well. So with our closed circles. So that would be completed on there. So now moving on to the next section, and this is perspective. So in this one there are 5 cards, and here's the first card. I can put that down there. So I don't know if you can see, I just wanted to show you what size they were in comparison to an A4 sheet of paper. So because if you want to print them off, so they're a bit narrower and they are shorter. If you can see all of that. So if you want to print them off, you might want to chop the paper. So when I present these cards to children, I always ask them, if you were to put your hand into the picture, which one would be closest to you? Which one would you touch first? And that's normally how I introduce it. So we start off with 2 wooden crates here. Then we have our mouse in a church. Which one is closest? I've got 2 men. Which one is closest to you again? This one's quite a little bit more tricky. Which ball is closest to you? So most children actually do get these. And again, 2 balls out on a road next to a fence. Which one is closest to you? Which one would you kick first? So that is perspective. Again, on the sheet to fill in, they don't tell you what the things are. You can very quickly just write it down and then respond. It does tell you on the back that this is simple perspective in 2D, and the 4 tells you it's card number 4. This is the order that you would present it in. This one's card number 5, so actually do that one. Do the one with the balls on the path first, and then you would do the one on the table. There we go. So that's that. So moving on, section 7 is very interesting. This is using critical features or exploded drawings. see, here are the cards and here is the first one. So it's about the same size as the other ones that I showed you. So you can see that somebody's been drawing a picture and the lines have not quite been finished. So what is that a picture of? What have they been drawing? Now, many children get this one. So it's a guitar, yes? Okay, fine, moving on. Our next one. Some children get this one, some don't. An elephant. Our next one. Yeah, quite a few children I've done this test with don't get that as an aeroplane. So, and this one here, I've had lots of ears as the answer to this one. So not really looking at the full thing. Of course, it's a teapot. Can argue that maybe teapots aren't used as widely nowadays. Somebody told me it was a kettle. I would accept that. But normally getting to it 4 is actually quite normal, I would say. So again, that is number 7. You need to fill in what each one is. Cards are numbered on the back. Number 8, we're now on to describing photographs. Now the photographs are not numbered on the back, so you can do them in any order. But I would often start with this one, which closed pegs, nice and clear. Then this one, lots of different tools. I would accept tools as the answer. If the child didn't give me the name completely, I would note down whatever they said. Maybe if they didn't know the word, but I maybe ask them if they could explain what they were. So often they will tell you this is a saw, they don't maybe know pliers. It really just depends on their experience. But if they can tell me at least something, then you know that's all right. Interesting one, reels of thread. Often children tell me it's knitting. So yeah, at least they're in the right area. So I might delve into that one a little bit more deeply. This is an interesting one. Of course, you present each of these pictures one at a time. This is a jar, but it's jam that's in the jar. Now the jar is quite interesting because probably most of you don't realise this is a very standard shape of a Nescafe jar many years ago when this test was created. So you might have in the past have got coffee as the answer, although it's not. But they might tell you it's a jar, and then you maybe want to ask them what do they think is in the jar. And I keep this one till last generally. This is a very interesting one. I remember showing this picture many years ago to a boy in primary, late primary, and he told me this was candles. He had cerebral palsy. Way back in the day before anybody knew anything about CVI. CVI was just 3 letters in the alphabet. Anyway, he couldn't tell me that these were flower pots hanging from a cane and they were upside down. So this test can really show up some very interesting bits of how children actually view pictures. The next section that we're going to go on to, and the last one in this video, is number 9. We're moving from naming and describing photographs in 8 to naming and describing drawings this time. So we just give the child each one and say, what can you see in the drawing? And these are all black and white pictures. So you've got a bit of an old train here, and they're not particularly clear pictures. This one in the sheet for recording tells you that it is a wreck. So sometimes they say it's a man, where is the man, but they don't really often give you the word wreck. They might say he's in the water or something like that. So yeah, I'd ask what other things they can see, and I would record everything on the sheet. Here, what we're looking for is the word hammer. Always I wonder why they've got 3, but I always think it's like a instructions. You have to hammer the nail 3 times, like self-assembly for furniture or something. Can you follow directions? In this one, we're looking for the word candle. You might want to ask them where they think the candle is. I'm not sure if these lines are meant to represent water or what they are, but you really want candle. In this one, you want kettle. You want them to recognise that. Rather strange that it's above a flame. I would think your water's going to take a long time to boil. Here we are looking for someone pouring from a jug. So if they say hand and jug, interestingly the glass is not mentioned, but if they mention that as well, that's good. And this one, this is really quite interesting. What we are looking for is actually they understand that these dotted lines mean that the ball is bouncing down the stairs. And I think this is really quite interesting to ask the child, how did it bounce down the stairs? We've got the cat up here and we've got this person. How's this person feeling? What do you think's happened here? So I think this card is a very, very good talking point for the child to see if they can come up with some scenario that's plausible. But do they understand that these lines are a bouncing ball? And if you think about it, these often appear in cartoons. So do they understand that that is what these lines mean?